Wet this morning, but looking at the radar, looks like it's supposed to clear up a little bit later this afternoon, and with any luck, the field will be nice and dry, and we'll have baseball for you this afternoon. Speaking of baseball, we'll also be talking about the major leagues starting up yesterday. We have 2 games to cover there. And we'll also talk a little bit more local sports, as the TSSAA did meet this week to determine how they're going to handle football and girls soccer in the fall. So it's a big show, a lot going on, so we're going to dive right in. Hope you guys are ready. So starting off with, we'll go with Major League Baseball. They started up last night. We had 2 games to start off the shortened season. The first game, the Yankees and the Nationals, and it kind of figures with a delay in getting the season started, with everything from COVID causing problems. The first game of the season wound up in weather delay and was eventually finished in 6 innings. The Yankees won 4-1 against the Washington Nationals. Second game was the Dodgers taking on the Giants, and it was a runaway for Los Angeles as they won by a score of 8-1. I don't know if you watched the games. It was kind of interesting. They put cardboard cutouts of fans behind the plate to try to give it a look like there was people that were there watching the game, and they pumped in canned applause during the games for atmosphere. But I missed the catcalling, the heckling, and the booing. I mean, that's part of baseball, and they didn't include that, and I guess I can see why. Can you imagine being a player on the field getting booed by a tape recording? Yeah, not a whole lot of fun for that. So baseball is back, major leagues are playing, and things are getting back to normal there. So there's a full slate of games today. You can check it out on MajorLeagueBaseball.com to check out the schedule and see when and where your favorite teams are playing. On a side note, there is some movement towards allowing fans back in to see the games. It's not going to happen right away. It's not even going to happen in the next week or 2. But there is some speculation that that may happen either before the end of the regular season or for the postseason playoffs. So we'll keep an eye on that and let you know what we find out. So moving on, next. And my computer here has decided it wants to restart because Microsoft knows when you're using their computers. Next up, we're going to talk about TSSAA. So Tennessee Secondary School Athletic Association did meet this week to determine what they're going to be doing for fall sports, and that includes both boys football and girls soccer. Now, they spent most of the time talking about football, mainly because it has an earlier start. So here's what they came up with. They're using a hybridized version of option 2. They had 3 different versions to choose from. And what they're going to do, you're going to have an 8-game regular season for all teams. So every team is going to have 8 games in the regular season, and they're going to be playing within their region. The original schedules have been scrapped. They're coming up with new schedules now. The hope is by reducing the amount of travel required, we reduce the exposure for the players and the teams. The playoff is going to be, in the postseason, is going to be shortened down to 4 weeks. It's going to be a 16-team playoff, and only the regional champions and the runners-up will be eligible. Now, for the teams that don't make the playoffs, they have the option of using that 4-week period to play an additional 2 games to get in a full 10-game season. It is entirely optional, and we'll see how that goes. All of this is on a floating schedule, which means nothing is set until they get the go-ahead from the governor to allow contact practice. TSSAA did decide that the teams need an acclimation period to get into shape and at least 3 weeks of practice before the season can start. And that's going to impact both the length of the season and the playoffs. So this plan that they've put forward is what they're hoping to have happen. So our first key date is going to be August the 3rd. If the governor gives permission for high school sports to take place by October 3rd, and right now he's got a state of emergency holding off on any contact sports until August 27th. But if he does release the teams to begin to practice on August 3rd, then the season will start on time. So they'll be able to get their opening games in. If it doesn't, then everything rolls back and gets condensed a little bit. So again, things are still fluid. We don't have anything concrete that we can really plan on right now. So August 3rd is the date that we want to pay attention to right now. So he also put, or the TSSAA also put in a series of regulations for carrying out football. So let's take a look at those. Have them up on your screen as well as right here in front of me. So these regulations are going to be in effect all season long, not just during the state of emergency. So even if the state of emergency is lifted, they will continue to use these regulations. So regulation number 1, temperature checks will be required for all players, coaches, and all team personnel prior to the start of practice, every single practice. If they have a temperature that is 104 degrees or greater, they will be sent home and cannot return until they've gotten proof from a physician that they don't have COVID-19 or that COVID-19 was not the cause of their fever. When fans come to the games, they are also going to have their temperature taken to ensure that they are healthy. And we're going to talk more about fan participation here in a second. Regulation number 2, every player, coach, and team personnel must complete a COVID-19 screening every week. And that's the series of questions that we've all gotten very, very familiar with. Do you have COVID? Do you have symptoms? Have you been exposed, or have you been traveling or in an area where you may have been exposed? Regulation number 3, there will be no team against team scrimmages, 7-on-7 practices, or any other contact with other teams. So no scrimmages or anything like that. Regulation number 4, at a contest, so when we're at the games, coaches, players, team personnel, all officials, administrators, and any fans must have their temperature checked before being allowed into the stadium. Again, if it's 104 or greater, they will not be permitted in. Regulation number 5, symptom checklist will be posted prominently in all contests, similar to the screening that the players and coaches partake in. And basically that's just going to let you know if you have any of these, you don't need to be there. At a contest where fans are permitted, and that's being left up to the discretion of the schools, member schools are encouraged to limit fan attendance to a number that would allow for adequate physical and social distancing. This is not a requirement, but they did suggest that as little as a quarter of the normal capacity up to about a third of the normal capacity for the facility is where the TSSAA is suggesting that we limit capacities for high school sports. Regulation number 7, fans in attendance must wear face coverings, masks or face masks while on the site. Regulation number 8, temperature checks and screenings shall apply to member bands, cheerleaders, and student groups during the contest. Number 9, if there's a public address service used during the game, then it must be used to encourage people to wear their mask and engage in social distancing. Regulation 10, frequent cleaning and sanitation is encouraged. Concessions are discouraged is number 11. And for 12, all coaches must complete the NFHS online COVID-19 course for coaches prior to the start of practice. So, that is the story for football and for girls soccer. Girls soccer has a start date of September 7th. Their postseason will be played November 11th. And if everything goes according to this plan, they will get their full season in. Now, if we don't get clearance to start practicing on August 3rd, this will get condensed some more, moved back. They will eliminate bye weeks. They will do whatever they can to maintain as many games as possible. Now, if any county, and this is any health department, not just ones in certain areas, but if any health department issues a safer at home order in the East Tennessee or in the state of Tennessee, then all athletics will be canceled, period. So, that's what they have decided. That's what's going to be happening as we move forward in sports. So, Looking at my comments, got one. Thomas Rimmer saying good morning. Good morning, Thomas. I hope your mom's feeling much, much better. Tom's told me that she had shoulder replacement surgery over this week. So our thoughts go out to her, and I hope she's feeling much, much better. All right, so that's TSSAA. Let's go ahead and move forward here. But first, we're going to take a commercial because I'm going to get a drink of water. So we're going to take a quick commercial. We'll be back in just a minute, and then we will start talking about what I know you're really waiting for, the East Tennessee High School Baseball League playoffs, which start tonight. So hang out through the commercial, and we'll be right back.
Are you a Hitchcock fan? Do you like a good suspense thriller? Then I have a couple of great books for you. Hello, I'm Joe Moore, TV host on Mountain Fun Life Channel and international multi-award winning author. Almost 60 years ago, Alfred Hitchcock scared audiences with The Birds. I picked up the story and wrote the next 2 chapters in this saga, Return of the Birds and my award-winning sequel, Revenge of the Birds. Available in hardcover, softcover, and digitally. Both books can be purchased wherever fine books are sold, or even autographed through the NorthPolePress.com. You have my promise. These books will keep you up at night.
We now have our own magazine. Our prints are located in shops, gas stations, hotels, ballparks, all over the Smoky Mountain region. We offer a concierge service for cabins, hotels, resorts, and individuals. A portion of any of our services or ad space may be applied as ticket value to the cost of any service or ad you book through us. Contact our marketing today for a free initial consultation. Email marketing@mountainfunlife.com.
Parrot Mountain. This attraction has it all, whether you're 2 years old or 90 years young, with hundreds of beautiful tropical birds and thousands of flowers, plants, and trees. Folks who visited our park have said, "I've never seen this many birds in one place. This must be what the Garden of Eden was like. The most beautiful and peaceful place I have ever been. These gardens rival the best. The best value in the Smokies. You'll want to visit Parrot Mountain and Gardens. Call or visit us online. We'll see you there."
All right, we are back, and we've got plenty of stuff to talk about. We're going to start covering the East Tennessee High School Baseball League. Now, we've been covering this league for 2 months for you, and I hope you've enjoyed that. And now we're down to the playoffs, and this is where it gets really, really exciting. So let's dig right in. And we're going to start off and talk about what happened last week. We had some great games and some good finishes. The game that we covered for you was Monday, and that was the Seymour Lumber Kings taking on the Sevier County Cavaliers. This was an important game. Sevier County was still undefeated at that point, looking to go 12-0 throughout the regular season. Seymour was coming off a surprise loss the week before, which gave them 2 losses and really knocked them out of contention for the 2 byes. So this was a game that was played for pride more than position. And in the end, the Lumber Kings came out on top of a very well-played game with a 3-0 score. We did have a couple of issues last week or this week due to COVID-19, one of which is unfortunate in that it dropped the Morristown Sandlot out of playoff picture. They played their way into the playoffs, but because of COVID-19, they weren't going to be able to field a team, and they had to drop out of the playoffs, which, you know, that's the worst thing that can happen. That's what you don't want to have happen. So let's look at the final standings and see which teams are going to the playoffs. In first place with an 11-0 record is the Sevier County Cavaliers. They played lights-out baseball all season long. They just didn't have anything for Seymour and their pitching when they met last week. In second place with only one loss is the Hardin Valley Knox Hawks. So these two teams will get the byes going into the playoffs and will not play until tomorrow. Team number 3 is the Seymour Lumber Kings, 9-2-1. Had a very nice season, and they are definitely coming together at the right point in time. And they are the dark horse for taking the championship and going to the championship series. Team number 4, the South Doyle Knights, finished at 8-4, so they had a very respectable season and played very well. Team number 5, the Jefferson County Pirates, at 6-4-2, bring up 5th place. And with the dropout of the Morristown Sandlot, that allowed the Carter Mean Green at 5-6-1 to slide in that 6th position. So congratulations to them. Welcome to the playoffs. So let's see how those are going to lay out. Oh, went too far. Bounce back. There we go. So we've got our championship bracket put together, and we can see what's going to be happening up here. Starting off today, there will be 2 games, one at 5 and one at 7:30, and this is pitting the 3 and 6 seed and the 4 and 5 seed. So the 3 seed is the Seymour Lumber Kings. They'll be taking on the Carter Mean Green. Then in the later game, it will be the South Doyle Knights taking on the Jeff County Pirates. For that game, then tomorrow, again, 5 o'clock and 7:30, we'll have 2 more games. And that will be the Sevier County Cavaliers taking on the winner of their bracket, and then the Hardin Valley Knox Hawks taking on the winner of their bracket. So that is Friday and Saturday. Now we're doing something a little bit unusual. On Sunday, we will have the first 2 games of a best-of-3 series between the 2 winners of these brackets. So again, that's going to be on Sunday, and that's something we haven't done yet this season. So be aware that the playoffs start on Sunday for the divisional championship round. They will play 2 games on Sunday, and then if necessary, they will play a 3rd game on Monday to determine who is going to the championship series. Now, if we look at the other side of the bracket, we can see that we don't have the team names yet. We don't know which teams made it into the playoffs for the Eastern bracket. But those games will be played up in Johnson City, and they're following the exact same format. Teams 1 and 2 got byes. Teams 3, 4, 5, and 6 will play their way in, and then they'll have a best-of-3 series on Sunday and possibly Monday. So the next step will be on Tuesday will be a day off. Then on Wednesday, whichever of the 2 teams remaining has the best record will have the home field advantage. So those opening games will either be played here at Smokies Stadium if the winner has the better record, or they will be played up in Johnson City. So we'll play 2 games there. This will be a best-of-5 championship series. So there will be 2 games at the home stadium, then 1 or 2 games at the away stadium as needed, and that will be on Thursday. And then if we need a 5th game, that will be played on Friday back at the home stadium. So that's the way the playoffs are shaping up. Obviously, Sevier County is the #1 seed and the favorite, but don't be surprised because Seymour and Hardin Valley are both extremely competitive, so we don't know what's going to happen. It should be a lot of fun baseball. Obviously, we will be bringing you those games here on Facebook Live on the Mountain Fun Life channel, starting with this evening's games at 5 and 7:30. I listened to David Aldrich this morning, then I looked at the weather radar. Looks like things are going to ease up this afternoon. Hopefully that'll give us plenty of time to get the field dry, and we will get our games in this afternoon. But come back here about 4:45 and you'll find out what's going on with East Tennessee High School baseball here in the Smokies. All right, so moving on from that, we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about more Smokies activities. And now we're going to be talking about going into the Smokies and enjoying them. It's really, really hot. I'm sure you've noticed. We're in 90-plus temperature days every day. The heat index with the humidity is 100+. So hiking may not be on your list of things to do. I know I enjoy hiking, not in 102-degree heat. It's just too hot. However, the Smokies do have a lot of different places that you can go and take a drive. So put together a quick list of those so you can see what those are and some suggested drive times for those. Starting off with Balsam Mountain Road. That is a 9-mile drive on the Blue Ridge Parkway. It's a two-way road. It's paved. It's really nice and easy to drive, and that'll take you about 30 minutes each way. Cades Cove Loop Road, 11 miles. It's a one-way paved road. Done it many times. You can always see some gorgeous scenery out there. An hour and a half might be a little optimistic. It might take you a little bit longer than that. It is a loop road, so there is no return trip off of that. The Cataloochee Road starts at I-40 at US 276, 6 miles. It's a two-way road. It dead ends, so you go out and then you come back. Cherokee Orchard Road, I always like to combine that with the Roaring Fork Motor Nature Trail. Put those two together and you get a nice, quiet drive. It's a very popular one, so there's lots of cars, but there's lots of turnoffs, lots of trails, lots of places, and lots of gorgeous things to see. Roaring Fork Motor Nature Trail does have a couple of slopes on it, so be aware of that and know how to drive without burning out your brakes. So that's just a couple of the different trails that we do have that you can drive on around the Smokies. And it does help you. You can stay in your air-conditioned car, get out and take some of the smaller hikes and smaller road trips without burning up. So, hope you enjoy that. Now, before we close, I've got two items of business. One for Craig Bummerstead, and I believe he's watching. I am working on putting together a fishing report for you, so look forward to that joining the show lineup here shortly. So didn't forget about you. And second, the last thing that we're going to talk about before we go anywhere, I told you we'd come back to this, it's the Washington Redskins. Except they're not the Redskins anymore. The Washington team has decided to change their name. What they haven't decided is what they're going to change the name to. So for this season, Washington football players are going to be called the Washington Football Team. So when you say go team, you are literally saying the team's name. There's a lot of discussion on the internet about the creativity displayed by calling Washington the Washington Football Team. My take on it is their record over the past 10 years has been something on the order of 60 wins to 90 losses, one playoff appearance, which was a loss in the wild card round, if I remember correctly, and only 2 winning seasons. To me, calling yourself a football team with that record is kind of a leap. So, however, that's what they're going to be called this season, the Washington Football Team. What will they be called next season? Who knows? All right, so that is sports for today. Hope you are having a great week and are looking forward to an exciting weekend. Again, we will be at the field Friday and Saturday, Sunday if necessary, Monday as well, and then we will take Tuesday off, but then we will continue to cover the playoffs. If the games played in Johnson City, we're not exactly sure what we're going to be doing to cover those, but we will be out there. We will bring you the games one way or the other. So, looking forward to it. It's going to be a great 10 days of high school baseball action. Hope you stay with us, and we will see you out on the field today at 4:45, so stay tuned. And remember, next week, all of our normally scheduled programs will be on. So we'll do Morning in the Mountains every morning, and we'll have Captain Accurate David Aldrich giving us the weather on Mondays and Fridays. So stay with us. We're so happy that you're watching us. Please continue to watch, like, and share our videos, and I will see you in just a few hours. For right now, this is Rich Haley on the Mountain Fun Life channel, and I'll see you in a bit.